Picture this. It's 1991, the internet doesn't exist for most people, financial advice comes from stuffy guys in suits talking to wealthy clients behind closed doors, and somewhere in Florida, a CPA who spent a decade on Wall Street is about to blow up the entire personal finance industry with a simple, radical idea. His name is Stacy Johnson, and what he did next would earn him 2 Emmy Awards, reach millions of people, and create a multi-million-dollar media empire that's still going strong over 30 years later. But here's the kicker, he didn't do it by selling expensive courses or charging premium fees for one-on-one financial planning. Instead, he did something that seemed totally crazy at the time. He gave away his best advice for free. This is the story of how one former Wall Street insider cracked the code on building a scalable financial education business and the specific strategies financial coaches can steal from his playbook today. The Wall Street Foundation. Let's rewind to 1981. Ronald Reagan just became president, MTV launched, and a young Stacy Johnson earned his CPA license. But Johnson wasn't content to crunch numbers in some back office. He wanted to be where the real money was, Wall Street. For the next 10 years, Johnson worked for 3 major Wall Street firms. He wasn't just collecting licenses like Pokemon cards, though he did earn licenses in stocks, commodities, options, mutual funds, life insurance, security supervision, and real estate. He was learning the game from the inside. But here's what's fascinating about Johnson's Wall Street years. He was watching 2 different worlds collide. On one side, he saw wealthy clients getting sophisticated financial strategies and personalized advice. On the other side, he saw regular people getting either no advice at all, or advice so boring and complicated that their eyes would literally glaze over. As Johnson later said, "You can either look rich or you can be rich, but odds are you won't live long enough to accomplish both. Choose wisely." This wasn't just a catchy quote, it was a philosophy born from watching wealthy clients make smart moves while everyone else chased status symbols. By 1990, Johnson had a revelation that would change everything. The traditional financial planning model was broken, not because the advice was bad, but because it wasn't scalable. One advisor could only help so many people, and the economics meant only wealthy clients could afford quality guidance. Think about it like this. If you're a master chef, you can either cook for 12 people in an exclusive restaurant, or you can teach millions of people how to cook through television. Johnson was about to choose television. The leap of faith. In 1991, Johnson made a decision that must have seemed insane to his Wall Street colleagues. He walked away from his high-paying client relationships to start something called Money Talks News, a personal finance TV news feature that would air during local newscasts. But wait, there's a brilliant strategic move here that most people miss. Johnson didn't just quit Wall Street to become a TV personality. He identified a massive gap in the market that nobody else was filling. Local TV news needed content. They had time slots to fill, especially during those morning or evening shows when people were getting ready for work or winding down for the day. Meanwhile, personal finance was becoming increasingly important to regular Americans, but the content available was either too complex or too boring. Johnson's insight was totally fetch. He realized he could create bite-sized, entertaining financial content that news stations would actually want to air. Not infomercials, not advertisements, real news segments that happened to be about money. The format was genius. Segments approximately 90 seconds long, packed with specific actionable advice. No fluff, no academic theory, just practical tips that viewers could implement immediately. Here's where it gets interesting for financial coaches. Johnson was essentially creating what we'd now call content marketing before anyone had coined the term. He was giving away his expertise for free, but in a way that built massive trust and authority. Within the first few years, Money Talks News was aired on network affiliates across the country. We're talking NBC, CBS, Fox, and ABC, from New York to Hawaii. Johnson had cracked the code on distribution that most financial advisors could only dream of. The content empire emerges. By the mid-1990s, something remarkable was happening. Johnson wasn't just creating TV segments anymore. He was building what we'd recognize today as a media empire. But he was doing it with a strategy that was years ahead of its time. Here's the business model that's pure gold for financial coaches. Johnson realized that giving away great content for free wasn't just good karma, it was good business. Every TV segment drove viewers to seek out more information, and that's where the magic happened. When the internet exploded in the late 1990s, Johnson was ready. He launched MoneyTalksNews.com, and suddenly he had a direct relationship with his audience. No more relying solely on TV stations as intermediaries. The website became the hub of what business strategists call a multi-channel revenue approach. Think of it like a wheel with multiple spokes. Spoke 1, television segments providing massive reach and credibility. Spoke 2, website content driving organic search traffic. Spoke 3, email newsletter building a relationship directly with the audience. Spoke 4, affiliate marketing recommendations monetizing that trust. Spoke 5, educational courses serving people who wanted deeper learning. And Spoke 6, book publishing establishing additional authority. But here's the genius part, and this is where financial coaches should pay attention. Johnson never abandoned the free content strategy. In fact, he doubled down on it. Despite the fact that it's free, make no mistake, our stories aren't VNRs, nor is there product placement or other hidden income sources. These are objective stories, the kind you'd produce. Johnson understood something that most financial professionals miss. Trust scales, but sales pressure doesn't. By maintaining editorial integrity and genuinely helping people, he built something more valuable than any single client relationship. He built an audience that trusted him implicitly. By the early 2000s, MoneyTalksNews.com was attracting over 1 million monthly visitors and had hundreds of thousands of email subscribers. Johnson had successfully transitioned from serving dozens of high net worth clients to helping millions of regular people. The recognition and expansion. Success breeds success, and Johnson's approach started getting serious recognition. He's produced and hosted more than 5,000 television news stories, been awarded 2 Emmys, and written 5 personal finance books. But here's what's really impressive. Those Emmy Awards weren't just vanity metrics, they represented something crucial for any financial coach building a business. Third-party validation of expertise. When you win industry awards for your educational content, you're not just another person giving financial advice, you're a recognized expert. Johnson leveraged his credibility brilliantly. He expanded into multiple content formats. Books, starting with Life or Debt, which Johnson modestly considered to be the best how to get out of debt book in the universe. The book wasn't just another revenue stream, it was a credibility multiplier that positioned him as a debt expert. Online courses. Johnson began offering courses on platforms like Udemy, recognizing that some people wanted more structured learning than articles could provide. Podcasting. When podcasting emerged, Johnson was early to adopt. While there's no shortage of personal finance podcasts out there, there are a few with the expertise we bring to the table. We started Money with a simple idea to keep listeners engaged while delivering actionable advice to give them greater control of their financial lives. The podcast, Money with Stacey Johnson, became another distribution channel, reaching audiences who preferred audio content. Episodes averaged 45 minutes, long enough to provide real value, short enough to hold attention. But perhaps the most brilliant expansion was into syndication. Johnson began distributing content not just to TV stations, but to major web portals including MSN, Yahoo, and AOL. Suddenly, his content was appearing on some of the most visited websites in the world. The business model breakdown. Let's pause and dissect exactly how Johnson monetized his expertise, because this is where financial coaches can steal some serious strategies. Revenue Stream 1, display advertising. With over 1 million monthly website visitors, Johnson could command premium rates for display advertising. The profit center today is the website, MoneyTalksNews.com. More than 1 million people visit it monthly, and more than 300,000 subscribe to the daily email. Having their stories on air drives traffic, which they monetize with display advertising. Revenue Stream 2, affiliate marketing. Here's where it gets interesting. Johnson built affiliate partnerships with financial service providers, but he did it ethically. Instead of pushing products he didn't believe in, he recommended services and tools that aligned with his educational mission. The key was maintaining trust while generating income. Revenue Stream 3, educational products. Courses, books, and specialized programs provided higher margin revenue. People who consumed free content and wanted to go deeper were willing to pay for structured learning. Revenue Stream 4, licensing and syndication. TV stations and websites paid to use Money Talks content. This created passive income from the content Johnson had already created. Revenue Stream 5, speaking and consultation. With his media platform, Johnson became a sought-after speaker and consultant, commanding premium fees for appearances and specialized advice. The genius of this model is diversification. No single revenue stream represented more than 40% of total income, which meant Johnson wasn't vulnerable to changes in any single area. The mindset shifts that changed everything. But let's talk about the psychological transformation that made all of this possible. Because Johnson didn't just change his business model, he changed his entire mindset about how to deliver financial advice. Mindset shift number 1, from scarcity to abundance. Most financial advisors operate from scarcity. They hoard their best insights for paying clients. Johnson flipped this completely. His best advice? went to the largest audiences for free. This counterintuitive approach created abundance by building massive trust. Mindset shift 2, from complex to simple. Wall Street trained Johnson to use complex financial jargon. Media forced him to explain everything in 90 seconds or less. This constraint became a superpower, the ability to distill complex concepts into actionable insights. Mindset shift 3, from selling to teaching. Instead of trying to sell financial products or services, Johnson focused on education. This removed the sales pressure from every interaction and allowed people to trust his recommendations. Mindset shift 4, from one-to-one to one-to-many. The biggest transformation was recognizing that helping one person at a time wasn't scalable. By creating content, Johnson could help millions of people simultaneously. As Johnson explained in his Udemy profile, "While I'm not rich in the Palm Beach, Central Park West sense, I'm financially independent, meaning I work because I want to and not because I have to. I didn't get here by selling books, tapes, or seminars." This is a crucial insight for financial coaches. Johnson achieved financial independence not by maximizing short-term revenue, but by building long-term value of multiple income streams. The lessons for today's financial coaches. So what can today's financial coaches learn from Johnson's journey? Here are the key strategies you can implement starting tomorrow. Strategy 1, lead with free, high-value content. Don't save your best insights for paying clients. Your best content should be freely available and easily discoverable. This builds trust at scale and attracts ideal clients. Strategy 2, master the art of simplification. Challenge yourself to explain complex concepts in simple terms. If you can't explain compound interest in 60 seconds, you don't understand it well enough to teach it. Strategy 3, build multiple distribution channels. Don't rely on just one platform or method. Blog, podcast, create videos, write books, speak at events. Each channel reaches different audiences and creates multiple touchpoints. Strategy 4, focus on education over sales. When you genuinely help people solve problems, sales become natural conversations rather than awkward pitches. Your content should provide value whether someone ever becomes a client or not. Strategy 5, develop multiple revenue streams. Don't depend solely on one-on-one client work. Create courses, write books, build affiliate partnerships, offer group programs. Diversification provides both security and scalability. Strategy 6, maintain editorial integrity. Never compromise your credibility for short-term financial gain. Johnson's success came from maintaining trust over 3 decades. That's only possible when your audience believes you're genuinely looking out for their interests. Strategy 7, embrace constraints as catalysts. The 90-second TV format forced Johnson to become incredibly clear and concise. What constraints in your practice could actually become strengths? The transformation continues. Today, at 60-something, Johnson continues to evolve his approach. I'm a 60-something married guy, no kids, living in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the yachting capital of the world. I live in a middle-class house on the canal off the Intercoastal Highway and have a boat behind my house. But don't let the casual description fool you. Johnson has achieved something most financial advisors never do: true financial independence through helping others achieve theirs. His recent podcast episodes tackle current topics like cryptocurrency, inflation, and market volatility, proving that even after 30 years, he's still adapting to serve his audience's evolving needs. The Money Talks News empire now includes multiple podcasts, a thriving YouTube channel with educational videos, active social media presence, and continued syndication across major media outlets. Most importantly for financial coaches, Johnson has proved that the transition from one-on-one services to scalable content business isn't just possible, it's profitable and sustainable. The catalyst moment. Here's what every financial coach needs to understand. Johnson's transformation didn't happen overnight. It took years of consistent content creation, relationship building, and strategic thinking. But the catalyst moment, the decision to share expertise freely rather than hoarding it, that can happen today. As financial coaches, we have the opportunity to recognize these transformational moments in our clients and help them catalyze it. When someone is stuck in scarcity thinking, we can guide them towards abundance. When they're overwhelmed by complexity, we can help them find simplicity. When they're thinking small, we can help them think scalably. Johnson's story isn't just about one man's business transformation. It's a blueprint for how expertise, properly packaged and ethically distributed, can create value for millions while building sustainable wealth for the creator. The question isn't whether this approach works. Johnson's Emmy Awards, decades of success and financial independence prove it does. The question is, what's stopping you from starting?